Okay, hello everyone. All right, our next talk is by Guillaume Binet about chatops, getting started with errbot. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you for the intro. So, yeah. So what we gonna do today is first I will introduce you to what chatops is, right? For those who don't know, who knows what chatops is actually here in the room? One, two. It's still not very popular here. And errbot? Anybody using errbot in those two, three? One? Oh, you use it. So then I'll show you all the advantages and so on. Then we'll go through the setup of errbot. It's very simple. I'll show you how to extend it. So it's in Python. So I'll show you a lot of snippets, code, and so on to get you a feel about how working with this tool. And finally, I want to spend like a few minutes on the social aspect, right, of chatops. We'll see what I'm talking about. So chatops, it comes from the DevOps movement, right? So DevOps is all about like making like a continuity between your developer team, and your operation team, right? And also it's all about automation, right? Whatever you can automate, just automate it. And on that, people just got the idea to why not automating it through a chat room, right? So that's what chatops is about, like connecting your tools and all your automations to your chat room. So let's see how it looks. So you have a chat room. Here it's Gitter, but you probably know Slack or HipChat or even IRC, right? You have people in the room, like that. But you have a special little guy in the middle. He's not actually human. He's bot, right? That can actually interact with people in the room. So let's see how it looks. Let's say you are in the team and you want to you are in the deployment phase, right? You're gonna release a new version of a product. So let's say a developer said, okay, I just finished some last minute bugs on this release. Let's see I don't know, he might be the tech lead saying, okay, well let's go for it. Let's release the thing. So for now, it's just like humans just coordinating on a chat room, right? But here, actually, the human can ask the bot to actually build a new version of the software, and then so the bot can give some feedback. And here you see another guy that could be actually outside of the team. So it happened to me a lot, like project managers that wants to know like, oh yeah, I want to notify some people externally on the external from the company, and this person can follow on the same chat room that. Where are we in the build process, or where are we in? It could be a build process, but could be also like an incident response or whatsoever, right? And the bot can continue your automation. Like here is like a small could be mapped on Jenkins or tools like that, like a CI, and then actually give you feedback regularly on what's going on, either on your building infrastructure or your testing infrastructure or your production environment. So that's the idea. So let's see where errbot, my little project, is coming in. So errbot is the chatbot itself. So the thing that is sitting between this chat room and your infrastructure. It can connect to a lot of various chat rooms. So that's one of its forte, right? One of its advantage. So you recognize, of course, Slack, HipChat, but we have also Telegram. We have XMPP, IRC, Gitter. There are like I don't know, a dozen systems you can connect to. And one of these advantages is that once you have your code running on one system, the plugins you wrote for one is actually portable for the others. So you don't have to, if you connect your chatbot to Slack and start to develop on that, if one day you have to change to HipChat for whatever reason, your plugin should work on it. I say that because it happened to me like twice. So it's pretty standard, like, okay, you can make a virtual env, pip install errbot, and there is just like a small shortcut to initialize your data directories and so on to make a new project. From there, you need to tell the bot to which systems you want to connect to, right? So you just specify what we call a backend. A backend for the bot is actually what it's connecting to. And you give it an identity, so often it's like a token, or could be like I don't know, sometimes a certificate or login password. And one last important thing is actually who you're gonna give the permissions to be admins on the bot. Basically, people that can administrate the bot itself. So that's why you put that there, because you need to lock your bot right away. Here, just put. And because you can actually manage your bot also by talking. So if you are admin, you send a message to your bot, and you ask it here is to install like a new set of plugins. So it's pretty convenient, because once it's running, then you can continue working on it while you are using the bot. So once you install the code, so there are like something like 400 plugins like that, it's available right away. So okay, so that was just about like and using it like, for the basic things, right? Things that already existed. But the interesting part for you, like Python developers, is how you extend that, right? How you make your own plugin, your own features. So you have actually 3 types of extensibility on this bot. You have the user plugins. So user plugins will see are about adding new features, like new commands that you can send to the bot so it can do something on your behalf. Two other ones that are more technical. One is about storage. So where do you want the bot to store its state? So either in like a SQL database, locally on disk, or you can actually extend it to other means. The are backends. That's why we support like several ones, like a dozen ones, because you can easily add a new one, and it's for the bot, it's like a plugin too. So we're gonna concentrate only on user plugins, like the features to your bot. A plugin is just like 2 files, basically. One is one file called a .plug file for a plugin, and it just gives to the bot where to bootstrap a plugin. Okay, the bot all .plug files, and just sorry about that. And so basically here you just says, you just point it to the file to load. And in this file, you just have to implement a new plugin. You just have to extend a class, right? A class called bot plugin. And on this class, you can make new commands that are basically methods on this class. So for example, here we just made a command called make, that we decorate with a bot command decorator, just to tag it to say to our bot that this is actually a command. And you have like a convention to actually put like args, message on args. And simply here with this make command, it will answer whatever you give it to args and insert that to the string. So if you talk to the bot now, if you do make like this command, a sandwich, it will insert a sandwich into the string and respond that to you in the chat. So really, it's to start with, it's one of the most simplest thing you can imagine, right? You just write Python, and that's going to be your commands that you can map to your chat room. So this has been done by design, right? When you are developing a tool like that, for you, it's not your priority. It's the tool that you want to use, right? It's just like for you, your team, 5 people maybe, and you just want to hack on it, make it work, and just think about something else. So this is one of the design choices we made straight at the beginning. Now, you'll say, yeah, there is like an help system inside Python, and where it gets the help is actually from the commands. so either on your plugin, which is actually a set of commands, right, or from the command itself. So here I did two commands, right, two doc strings, and when I call help, which is like an internal command from errbot, it will tell you what the command does, and you have everything in one place, one file. You have your doc, what it does, and how it explains to the user. And so I could go on for maybe maybe an afternoon, right? So we have a lot of features. So for example, Markdown is the way actually errbot can display properly and answer to every single type of chat rooms. So I don't know, if it is IRC, it will remove the images and make links to the images. If there are tables, and if it is on Gitter, it will be able to display a table. Or if it is on I don't know, a text interface, it's going to be like displaying like those ASCII art tables, and so on and so on. But I'm gonna show you a little set of those features. One of the first things you want to do when you actually implement commands is actually pass parameters, right? And you're going to do almost always the same thing. You want to pass parameters. I don't know, if you have a command associated to like a VM instance, you need to name it, right? So you need to pass a VM instance name. We have like a little shortcut. So instead of getting like the string that the user passes on the chat after the command, we can actually transform it to like a tuple. Just by saying like, oh yeah, just split the commands by comma. For example, you have this convention. So basically you do make 1, comma 2, and it's gonna give you the split string already. So it's a little shortcut. It's very, very simple for the basic usage. But we have also another one which is actually quite complex. That's for like really advanced commands. Do you know like the command line parsing interface from Python? That's exactly the same, basically. So you can say like, okay, you have an argument called first name, you have another one last name, another one favorite. You can type it. For example, favorite is a number here, and it will parse it for you and pass that. So you have to change also your signature for your method. And it will pass those parameters straight to your command. So that would be like ready for commands where you have to go into details, right, on what you need to do. It's pretty rare. I haven't implemented a lot of them, but sometimes it's useful when you, for example, you have a command that says that, oh, we have a problem on this instance or this machine or whatsoever, and you want to actually pass like parameters with time when you want to display a graph or things like that. So all those things were about like, okay, you probably noticed that every time there is like a question mark before the command. And so this question mark, you can change it, but you can also parse anything. You can make the bot listen to every single messages, and when it matches a specific regexp, it extracts the match object from the regex and inject that to the command. So it's pretty fun to actually do that, because you can actually make small jokes when, I don't know, somebody make a typo is doing all the time, or you can do things like that. So that's another way to interact with the bot, right? Talking like in plain English, or actually intercept like normal messages. Another use case that is quite interesting to start with is like you'll find often that when you ask something to the bot, right, the action can be long, right? It could be like deploying for 1 hour, 1,000 machines, right? And the thing is, it doesn't play well with the chat interface, because you need feedback from, okay, what are you doing, right? So when you implement a command like that and you use a generator instead of like a normal method, you can actually give intermediate steps to the user, right? It's gonna send, for example, those two ones, gonna send first one message, processing 10%, and another one processing 20%. So you can give messages like that in your flow of your code, giving feedback to the user without doing anything. So we have in the bot a thread pool, basically. having those messages. So it is asynchronous. So you can actually have long-lived commands without doing anything special. This one I like it too because so all those commands and so on where okay, the user talks on the chat and the bot reacts to it and the bot does something outside, right? But sometimes you want to do the reverse, right? You want like an external event to be able to call back to your bot and do something on your behalf. So we have actually the same thing as the commands, but mapped to a small web server. And so, for example, webhook. And you put like echo, that will actually map /echo to receive webhooks. So this one is really simple, but you can actually tweak it. So for example, if you need like a JSON one or a plain one, or there are like tons of little parameters like that, or about like also the form that is posted and so on. And I've yet found a webhook form that is not compatible with errbot, with those parameters. So it's pretty useful. Like you can listen to GitHub webhooks, or I don't know, like even like if this and this, if like, you know, if this then else, then that, right? Commands. You have like tons of services you can actually hook to your bot and actually do callback. Start like little automations on your bot. Other ways you can actually have callbacks, so like more specialized to chat systems, right? Is through like we have like a convention also. You just define those methods, and you can be called for every messages, even if it is not destined to the bot. You can actually receive those messages. You can be called back on presence. So presence, basically somebody shows up in a chat room, you're gonna get a message. So I've seen companies doing that, like large companies like GoDaddy and so on, doing that for to actually to introduce somebody in the company, right? So somebody for the first time shows up in the company chat room, and then the chatbot comes in and asks, "Hey, welcome, and did you register with HR for your thing there? Did you do that?" And follow the users through their first day. Mentions is also quite cool. So basically, when you chat, sometimes you do @gbin just to ping somebody, right? So you can listen to those mentions. You can react, for example, if you are making an incident management system, right? See if somebody ping somebody else like that, and after if this person is on call and after like 10 minutes did not react or didn't show up with the presence, you can start to do something else, like send an SMS, make a call, and so on, right? So it's pretty useful, and it's still natural from the chat rooms. I'm gonna introduce you. I don't want to bore you forever with all those features, right? But I'm gonna introduce you to one last one that we actually implemented not long ago, which is quite awesome. So basically, all those what we did before, right, was basically one event, right? We just send one command, the bot responds, or the bot react to one event, like I mentioned, or whatsoever. And I noticed that our users were always trying to make like a little workflow, right? You do this, and then you cannot do that, and then you do this, and so on. So recently, we implemented that in the bot itself. So you can actually programmatically, we're gonna see, make a little graph that users can that enforce like a conversation, right? So if you want to do this action, you first have to do this command, then this command, and depending, actually here there is like a little loop, you see, but you can actually make like a big tree of conditional states like that, right? Like a little workflow. So usually workflow engine, not really my thing, right? It's like really complicated with XML and so on. But here, it's just Python. Once again, so same thing, right? You don't want to spend too much time on your code. So basically, you create a bot flow, like you would create a bot command, and then you start to connect actually commands from manually on your tree. So for example, you start with a root called game created. You connect this root to another command called guessing. you connect it on itself, right? You see the little loop. And on a specific condition, basically it goes to the flow end, which is basically the end of the flow. So it's super simple to implement. And one strong aspect of this thing is that it's separate from the plugins themselves, right? So if you have like two plugins that do totally different things, but one depend on one another, you can actually string them through a workflow for your user. Like, I don't know, maybe it could be one plugin is just taking care of VMs. One command is going to be create VM. And after that, you need to, I don't know, say yes, no, if you want to open that up on the firewall. Then you can string it on another plugin, which is just about networking. So it's pretty powerful and makes the plugin composable from one another. So, okay, you bear with me with all that. So then, yeah, feel free to discover all those features. So you saw that it's pretty simple to start with, right? You just can put that in your chat room pretty easily, and then start with simple commands, and then build on that, right? Now, the thing is, like I said at the beginning, right? When you have all those tools, right? One of the important aspects is that people use them, and that people that are not technical actually participate to those, right? Can follow what you're doing, even if they are not technical, they can understand what is it to deploy, or what is it to do something in the system, and find you on the chat room. So when I implemented that in this little company I started with in Belgium, we noticed that actually when you make some fun commands, like for example here we implemented I think that was one of the first funny ones we implemented. Like somebody made a mistake, I don't know, deploy like something that was buggy or whatsoever. You could do a facepalm, and the bot would answer with like a funny picture about a facepalm. So this is one, but there were like tons that it could actually get from the web. And we had so this one is kind of generic, right? But we had a lot that were tied to our own enterprise culture, right? So, for example, you could say when somebody said something funny in the company, you could add that to a list, and you could say you could ask what this person would have said to the bot, and sometimes it like makes like really funny situations about it. So it sounds dumb, right? But the thing is, like for people, they are working like 8 hours a day, right? And they are this boring building and developers doing their thing, right? But with these little things, actually, I made people started to be interested by programming itself, right? It's in Python super easy, and for example, this little enterprise culture thing where you just add quotes. People from marketing actually came in and started to modify stuff in this little script, because it's so easy, right? It's like, no, it's a list, it's there. I modify it and I did something funny, and they try it on the chat room, and they are very proud of it, right? That made the bot their own, right? It has its own personality that was matching actually people in the company, and that was a huge part of what made this chatbot a success. So don't see it as a tool, right? See it as like really a new helper that you bring to your team, and you try to actually improve it and make it your own. So of course there are a lot of existing plugins, like you saw at the beginning, right? You could install external plugins. There are like 400 public plugins now. I just can't believe that that we are at that point now. And so I work at Google, and we actually made one of those plugins for Google Cloud. So like I said, a lot of people are using that for operations, and so Google Clouds, it's about that, right? Like VMs and I don't know, BigQuery and all of those products. So we released recently on GitHub like a Stackdriver plugin. So Stackdriver is basically like small services we can plug on top of Google Cloud. And if you want to give it a try, I don't know if you are a GCP customer, feel free to come to me, and I'll get you started. We have an EAP, Early Access Program, on that. And yeah, I'm very proud to be able to. So I started this errbot like 5 years ago at Google. I started this project as a 20%er, and now it's got promoted as a real project at Google. So it has a long story of things that started from like a little script that we had actually on a machine 5 years ago. So to find more information, you can go to errbot.io, which is our website. From there, you can easily go to our chat room where there is actually an errbot laying around, of course. I would like to give like a huge shout out to the errbot community. I mean, basically 24/7, there is always somebody here to help you. And I mean, you are a beginner. You are welcome to come here. And like in this little company, right? People can begin with errbot, and then they actually graduate and start to do like complex things that are pretty useful. And also, yeah, I would like to say thank to Google, of course, my employer there, and the people inside that actually helped me putting this project up. One last thing. So this little guy, my wife Koniko made this thing. I have few stickers. If you like it, I can give away. Feel free to come to me afterwards. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, yeah, just feel free to ask.
Thank you, Guillemot. Yeah, if anyone has questions, please raise your hand.
So, can you have multiple of these bots? And if so, how? I mean, I don't know. Is there just one bot that does everything, or I was trying to understand, how this plays. And if you have multiple, how do you address them?
Okay, so usually it's better to have one bot with plugins on it, but some companies don't. So basically, you then try to configure the bots that they actually don't answer to the same what we call prefix for the commands, for example, so they don't walk on each other's. And now, so we're gonna release actually also deployment descriptors for Kubernetes, for example. So you can actually have a little bit of resilience. So you can have like several bots with two that are dormant and one which is active. So you can actually, I don't know if it was your question, but you have also this problem like having several bots connected to one chat room and only one is master and the other ones are spare. So that's also one concern we try to address.
Yeah, I have one question. How modularized is the bot system? If I add a new module or if I change something in the module, do I need to restart the entire system or process? Or I usually have the problem with any kind of chatbot that you need to shut down the entire thing and restart it if you make any kind of changes. So even if I add a new backend, do I have to restart everything, or is it like it's very modularized? Or
so yeah, it's almost like I paid you to ask this question, right? So that's an excellent question. So actually, I can give you a little bit of history. Actually, at the beginning, we like I said, it was just one script. When people were editing it, you had to restart it, right? And so we added like tons of features like that, right? And it was exactly your situation, like every time you restart and so on. And also like I also said also before, like people that were not very new to Python, right? We are editing the thing, trying to restart it, and that was breaking, right? And once I remember, so in my team there was an operation manager, right? He came to me like, all red, like, okay, we can't take it anymore. Why is this thing? We use it every day, and somebody just forgot a quote and it broke everything. I was like, what? So I realized two things, right? One is that actually it's useful, this bot, and that people are rely on it like every day. And the second thing is it was very fragile, like you said. So you need to restart it and so on. So that's why we started to have this At the beginning, you saw that we had these chatops on chatops, right? You could talk to the bot to actually install a plugin. And those plugins, actually, if they don't pass, they don't start, right? You can try to update them, restart them, but they won't start if something is wrong. And that was one of the key features we had to implement straight at the beginning. Like, you change something, change your code. If your plugin gonna be broken, but it won't affect the other, and it's all online, right? So you don't have to restart the bot every time you change something. So it's true only for user plugins. So storage is too deep. I mean, you need to migrate your data and so on. It doesn't make sense to make that online. And then backends all neither, right? It doesn't really make sense to you are in the process of changing chat system. I mean, you don't want to do that online. You do that like once every 5 years. So it's not really important. But the user plugins are quite isolated and can be updated independently.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I was wondering, you were talking earlier about how like some marketing people would be adding stuff, things like that. Like how exactly were you set up? Did you just have like a file that anybody could edit? Because I feel like there might be I don't know, security concerns, and if if you are actually doing reviewing, how do you like reduce the friction so that people can easily add things?
That's a very good question too. So all those plugins are Git based, and we have now you can actually set up and restrict which Git systems you can get plugins from. Right, there is like a kind of index for plugins, and that's how it works basically. So. At the beginning it was a file, but then now it's more like they were using Git on Mac and just editing like straight the files, committing that, and asking the bot to update. And they had like this rights for this specific Git that the bot was allowed to install plugins from.
That's all kind of in the system now. Like if, for example, I would start to use this, I would also get some of this, or is like
So the index system, saying like which repo you can listen on and so on, is integrated to the bot. But you need to have your Git repo somewhere, right? So
of course. Right,
but otherwise it's already done, right? Yeah. And on the security side, you can also lock down the bot, right? You can say you can forbid all those installations. Commands and so on, so you are really like in a secure mode. So some people like that also to have like a completely locked down. But
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. After this, we have I think 1 hour break where there will be snacks on the first floor. And so enjoy that.